Hello and welcome back. I'm in the front garden and I'm getting the front hedge trimmed, or I've just finished that, and we're getting ready to put both our stalls out together. We believe we've got a plan to stop sun damage on my hiking stick stall, but the wife has got her other plants that she needs to get out to sell, because obviously within the next 2 months we'll be in Portugal, so we need to get the bulk of our sales done, because when we get back the garden season will be pretty much beginning to come to a close. So for us it's quite imperative we sell the plants and stock that we've got here now. So what we've decided to do, like today it's overcast, we're just going to leave it where it is. But if we have an open sunny day, we're just going to track the stall around so it doesn't receive so much of the sunlight. We lose signage on one side of the road when you come down, but the other side coming into the village still receives full frontal signage. It's not exactly, ideal, but like I've been saying over the last few videos, I can't keep withstanding the damage to my products. So we're going to see if this makes any difference. Obviously a day like today where it's slightly overcast, I'll keep it in full view where I've got my signage fully out on the road. We'll see how this pans out, but in any case, I've got to try and do something to get my products back out for sale. You know, it's something that we've been doing for a while now, and we want to continue doing it. It's just a shame that obviously people perhaps a little bit more careful with their finances and not making impulse purchases, but that's to be expected, and I'm just the same as well. But yeah, we're going to give it a go using this particular method and format. So this is a batch of 5 here that have just been varnished their first coat, and this one here has a hair on it, burnt on. It's looking rather nice. Nice bark on that one. That's part of our natural collection, that one is. That's a hazel one. That's hazel, but been done in what we call our vintage colour scheme. And it's been done to make it look like it's of an older kind of, hiking stick. It just gives it that feel. Coming around to this one here. This one has a fox burnt on it. I'm trying not to drop them because they're freshly varnished. And it has a hair burnt on there. And this is another one of our natural collection with a peaked handle. And a little squirrel burnt on just behind my logo, with a really nice 2.5-inch copper tip on that one. So they're drying now, that batch of sticks, and I will give them their second coat tonight, providing we don't get any moisture in the atmosphere outside. They'll dry in an adequate space of time for me to do that. Worst case scenario, I just have to leave it till tomorrow morning. Now, it's something that we've got kind of used to now, is the fact that our sales have dropped off from when the first lockdown, second lockdown, and from when indeed people were told to work at home or not come into the office or workplace. they were purchasing stuff to allow them to go outdoors. And that was the same for any sporting or outdoor activity or exercise piece of equipment. People were purchasing to fulfill that role and to give them the legitimacy to be out, shall I say. So, you know, I'm not alone. Many other people providing those items did and have felt the actual slump. But for me, it's a bit of a mixed blessing because it's now allowed me to go into a more natural rhythm within my lifestyle, shall I say, use that word, because I was sitting out here probably 8, 9, 10 hours a day, you know, manufacturing, wood burning, and then, you know, fitting custom orders in around that. So it's dropped back to, shall we say, what I really wanted it to be, which is more crafting rather than mass producing. So it's allowing me now to focus on the sticks in a more enjoyable way now. Like you say, it's one of those things, if you're having to do something on a mass produced time scale and to a standard within that time frame, it becomes a lot harder and a lot less enjoyable. Now I'm back to what I would call crafting. For our natural collection, you know, it is quite you know, you have to select one where the bark will, once you've finished the processing of the stick and then put your finishing products on the stick to get it to a sellable condition, you have to basically start with a raw material you can work with. Now this stick here has been seasoned for well, it's a 12-month, possibly a little bit more, and you can see there's just too many patches where the bark is lifted off for me to be able to sand that, put my logo, burn a little woodland animal on it, and still retain something of a stick which is going to hold enough bark on it for us to be able to call it our natural collection. So this one fails at the first hurdle. It's not even going to be looked at to where I think to myself, if I sand and put my logo there and a woodland animal there, the rest of it is still usable in that particular model. This is obviously going to become my basic hiking stick, where I strip the bark off and put the finishing and the sanding on it in that vein. So this fails to or has failed to become one of my natural collection. This one here has a lot of well, it looks like it's got vine damage, as you can see going up there, some down here, there, and further down. That, like you say, that it's got vine damage and there's just too much of it. Even though it's sporadic, I could not get just my logo and a woodland animal burnt on without leaving some of these damaged bits, and they need sanding out to be able to firstly survive the time period that this stick is going to be in use without pulling off more bark, and even to accept the products and finishing that I'm going to do to this stick to be able to put it for sale. So this one also fails at that point. This one here looks quite nice, but there's just a few bits that are flaking off all over, and sometimes if it's got a little bit of flaky bark, you can run a very light piece of sandpaper over it. Just take those flakes off and it's still good enough to accept your finishing products to a standard where you could still call it, or we call it, our part of our natural collection. But this has got just too much of it, and it's quite furry, the bark down the bottom, which basically means as I'm running my hand here now, I can see very small flakes coming off. It's just too much, and I wouldn't want to invest my time trying to make this into a natural collection stick, where it'd be easier for me to strip the bark off and then put this straight in as one of my ordinary wooden hiking sticks. So that's failed. This one here is more to the point of what I'm looking for. You can see that there's a nice silver grain running down along the bark, the ridges and that. It's got what I call something that I can work with, where a light sand with a bit of sandpaper will just take the edges off any bark that's outstanding and not remove any or make it weak. It will accept products that I'm going to put on to finish it, and then obviously I can take a patch off to put my logo and a patch to burn a woodland animal, and it's still going to look nice. The bark will come up on this one. So yeah, that one, out of 4 sticks, just one will make it to become part of our natural collection. And that's what I'm faced with. Like, you know, when I look at my stock of sticks, I don't have millions of blanks that I can just turn to. So I'm always got to look at what I've got and think to myself, that's going to be a natural, that's going to be just my basic stick, I'm going to make that a vintage one. That one there is going to become a heavier gauge stick, and you know, for somebody who possibly is larger or wants to bushwhack, or a smaller one which will be for somebody who wants to, shall we say, only provide a bit of support but allow them to hold it and do a lot more mileage in a faster time period without being encumbered with a serious piece of wood. There's a lot that's got to go into the actual thought process to each individual stick, or to, if it's a custom order, to the individual's requirements that he's given me. But that just gives you an insight into basically that it's not every stick with a bit of bark that can be turned into one of a natural collection stick, because obviously there's, you know, with your quality inspection that you do on the actual bark, in just there, like I said, 1 in 4 fails. So yeah, I hope you can see that it's not quite such an easy process as just picking a stick out of your rack of blanks and just smashing one together for whatever purposes you want to fulfill. So coming back out here to where those sticks are drying, I'll very quickly just let you have a closer inspection of them. They are wet, and obviously, you know, I don't want to manhandle them around too much, but you'll be able to see, you know, just by looking at them as they're drying, why they have ended up being selected for a natural collection over their counterparts, which are basically our stripped wood and sanded items. So looking at the handle, you can clearly see I was able to sand down where the lanyard hole goes, and it didn't peel off too much bark. There was enough, shall we say, integrity with the bark to stay there and not damage the actual other layers of bark, which would have meant that it would not have been able to obviously go on to the process of becoming the full stick. As you come down, you can see how the bark on this stick still has that overall look of what you would expect from the forest when it's, you know, been freshly brought in to be made as a stick. It still looks fresh, it still looks intact, it's not gone scabby like some of the other ones I've shown you, and it looks like something that you could quite literally think that yourself that it's been only just picked no more than just, you know, a few weeks ago. But that is a 12-month-old piece of wood there and bark. As you can see, the bark held up for that bit I took there. all the way down here. And even the knots there, when I've sanded the knots out, it hasn't removed too much bark. The bark hasn't fallen or flaked off. It's still got that integrity to make it to the stage of becoming a hiking stick. As you can see, that's what I'm looking for to become part of my natural collection. Bear in mind, I still have varnish drying on it. That's what and it comes out slightly white before it goes to this completely clear colour. But coming back up again, you can see the clear difference between its counterpart there, which is the fully sanded piece of wood. And it is down to personal preference, but we are getting a lot of people asking for a natural looking stick. So there you have it. I'm going to call it a day here now, and that was just a quick insight into what we call our natural collection and how they get to be selected to go on to become that finished item. They do look nice, and a lot of people are asking for them, and I think that's quite simply because you know, you just have that more organic feel about it. And look, it's not to everybody's taste. I do sell a majority of mine are the stripped wood and burnt on models, but like I said, I cater for everybody. So this is Andy from Folklore Hiking Sticks, and I'll catch you again.